Hello team, due to technical issues we are facing this. So the one who is unable to join the Zoom link, please join through YouTube link. Okay. And you will not be faced any issues tomorrow. And this session will be starting within 15 minutes.
आज तक याद है पहली बार जब मेरे हाथ की चाय पिए थे इस घड़े में बनाई ये चाय चुप साला आज
Hello, everyone. A very good morning. Yeah, we're extremely sorry for the delay in starting the program. So due to some logistics issues. Okay. So before we get into the today's agenda topics, let me give you briefly who we are and what is this program all about, this EDL, Every Learning, right? So this Every Learning, that initiative that is started for students, faculty and colleges. So I'll explain you so how students and faculty as well as the college so can get benefit out of this program. So briefly I will explain so without taking much time. Fine. So if your college want to take part in this program, so you can reach out to our Everyday Learning team. So here you can see the mobile number, email ID, right? And our team will so facilitate so all the necessary things so that your college students can participate so into this program. So this program for the next 12 to 13 days, we are going to conduct this Python for data scientists or data science. Let me give you a brief introduction about ExcelR Solutions, who we are. ExcelR Solutions is an initiative of IIT, IIM, and ISB alumnus. And we have trained 140,000 participants across the globe on various training programs on data science, data analytics, artificial intelligence, cloud, right? And PMP, agile, so on and so forth. And when it comes to data science and artificial intelligence, so we have trained 20,000 plus participants across the globe. We have strong presence in various countries. Yeah, we have strong presence in various countries such as US, Malaysia, UK. Also, we have multiple branches in India. We have branches in Bangalore, Pune, Mumbai, and Hyderabad. So we are the preferred training partners for 150 plus corporate companies, wherein we deliver a lot of trainings, various companies like LinkedIn, Amazon, TCS. So they approach for different trainings and we deliver the trainings for their employees. And also we have associated more than 70 universities and colleges across the globe. And we have collaborated with IBM. And also we have association with a foreign university called Steinwitz University based out of Germany. And we have been awarded by Deloitte a technology fast 50 growing companies. And these are the other awards and accolades we have won over a period of time. All right. So what is this EDL? And let me give you the features of this program. So how you can get the maximum benefit out of this program, guys. So first we are going to offer you the professional training and various training technologies. So when I say training technologies, as you guys are aware, the data science, so artificial intelligence, blockchain, right? The full stack development and all these technologies we are going to offer trainings for free. And these trainings are going to be taught by the industry experts who are working on these technologies, because those are the people who can bring a lot of real-time examples, real-time problems, so that you can understand, you can learn from them. And even for this program also, Python for data science. So Neha is a trainer. She has got a lot of experience in dealing with the data science topics using Python. Right? And then as part of this training, we're going to give you the assignments as well. Right? So assignments will be uploaded in our LMS, and LMS access has been given to you guys. And if you don't have access to the LMS, you can reach out to the email ID edl@excelr.com. So Leela, can you please post that the email ID in the chat? You can reach out to that email ID, guys, and you will get that the LMS access. And also after completion of this program, and once you complete the assignments, so based on the request that we receive from the colleges where we have MOU signed, so for those colleges, for those students, we will give the projects also. Upon completion of the projects, the students will get internship certificates. And then periodically, we are going to conduct a lot of sessions on placement preparation, resume building, okay, how to attend the interviews. So how to clear the HR interviews, how to clear the technical interviews, group discussions, right? So all these things we are going to conduct. And LMS access. So we have a beautiful LMS, learning management system. So where you can access all of these things. So you can join these sessions through our LMS. The LMS walkthrough, Leela, so she is going to do that. So after my discussion, and then the assignments, the placement preparation sessions, all these things are going to be available. So in our LMS. And even the best part is, what are the sessions that we are going to conduct? All the sessions so will be available for you as a recorded sessions in our LMS, right? Let's say, for example, after 1 month or after 6 months, you want to refresh your knowledge. You can just log into our LMS and you can just go through that videos. So before attending an interview, probably you might want to go through certain topic. Yes, you can go ahead, right? And we are conducting a lot of industry FDPs. So this is especially for colleges and faculty members who have joined here. So dear faculty members, so we are going to conduct a lot of FDPs. In the past also we have conducted, all right? And recently we have concluded one FDP here in Maharashtra, right? And before that, yes, we have conducted a lot of FDPs on data science, artificial intelligence, right? And the AngularJS, blockchains, right? So if you have any requirement related to FDPs, please reach out to us, right? We will provide a trainer, speaker for that FDP. And industry webinars, yes, as I mentioned, we are bringing experts from different industries, and they'll deliver the talk, what is happening in the industry. So how students can choose their career in which technology, right? And so how they can build a bright, the great career in the technology front. So if you're not interested in technology, let's say coding, so where you can go, non-coding, the career paths. So all those things we are going to conduct, and we are going to reach out to you for this industry webinars, guys. And then MOU. So all these offerings are going to be governed by MOU, Memorandum of Understanding. So this we are going to have. So with the colleges, if at all your college is not part of the MOU, so if you have not signed MOU, I request, so reach out to your college. So if you are a student, so probably you can give the information to your TPO or HODs or principals. And if you are faculty members, so I request you to please initiate the discussion with our EDL team. So in the end, I'm going to display that EDL email ID once again. Yeah, as I mentioned, so the LMS, so this is how the LMS so is going to be. So you can join the session and also you can view the recording. Right. And this is the internship certificates. So that students are going to get, students are faculty members, whoever have completed the projects. And also you're going to get the course completion certificate also. Right. Upon completion of the assignments, you will get the course completion, and upon completion of attending all the sessions, you are going to get the participation certificate. And you can check in on the YouTube channel. We have a lot of the webinars and the FDPs and SDPs we have conducted in the past. So probably you can refer our YouTube channel. So just if you want to see that. And in the last 1.5 years, we have conducted 100+ webinars, and approximately 10,000+ participants have attended, and they have so got the information so related to various topics. All right. So I have mentioned at the beginning of this the discussion. So this EDL program is going to be so beneficial for students, faculty, as well as colleges. So this is where actually colleges can get benefit out of this program. So all these trainings, okay. So we are going to conduct in compliance so with the NAC and NBA requirements, meaning some of the requirements from NAC and NBA you can satisfy using this program. We are going to supply the necessary documentation. So wherever it is feasible, we are going to send you the feedback. We are going to send you the assessments or assignment details. All these things you can use as part of your documentation. And detailed discussion we will have so at the time of one-to-one discussion with the colleges. So for trainings, so on 15+ training technologies, as I mentioned, and if you want to have the MOU with your college, so please reach out to our everyday learning team, EDL. So this is our mobile number and this is email ID. Now also, if you face any difficulties related to joining the session, right, and Zoom link or any other thing, technical glitch, or any additional information if you want, so please reach out to this email ID edl@excelr.com, and this is a WhatsApp. Don't call, so please send a WhatsApp message and we'll get back to you guys. Right, so that's all from my side, and I would request, so Leela, please take it up, and you can give the KT on the LMS, how to join, how to use LMS, all those things. Yeah, thank you guys, and I wish you happy learning, and so just get the maximum out of this session. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, team. And I'm Leela from ExcelR Everyday Learning Program Training Programs team. So I'll just give you an idea how you can access our ExcelR dashboard. Okay, so you already had received 2 mails from us. Yeah, one moment, team. I'll start sharing my screen. Hope my screen is visible to you, right? Yeah. Team, once you register with us, you would have received a mail from us saying that, welcome to ExcelR, please verify your mail. You would have received a mail from onlinelearning@excelr.com. Okay, so when you click on this link, you would be able to set your password. Okay, so when you click on this link, you may see the dashboard like this. So you have to set your password and confirm it. And I'll let you know that as well. So in a Google browser, if you type onlinelearning.excelr.com, you may see a page like this. So once you set your password, if you can come to this browser and if you can sign in with the registered mail ID and the password you have set up. Okay, so I'm just trying with my mail ID, which I have got LMS access. Once you log into our ExcelR dashboard, the first view will be home page. So you would have enrolled for this Python for Data Science EDL program. So you may able to see this classroom over here in the home tab. Okay, so for everyday session, you may join the session to the YouTube or Zoom link from this today's session tab. So if you click on this join meeting, you will be redirected to our Zoom meeting. Okay, so when it is time, like every day at 11 a.m., we will be starting the meeting. So you can join the Zoom meeting from directly this LMS dashboard. And also I'll let you know how you can access our ExcelR classrooms. Okay, so you have enrolled for this Python for Data Science EDL program, right? So when you click on this arrow link, you may see 2 tabs here. One is curriculum and the second thing is meet. So as I said, you may join from start session, join meeting, or else from this meet tab, you may join from here as well. You can join this meeting by 2 ways. One is from today's session and the second one is from this meet. Okay, from this join meet, you can join the session every day. So coming to the curriculum, so whatever the materials we are going to teach you in the session, we will be uploading here. So every day, as it is a Python for Data Science day 1, you may see the YouTube live here, and also when the session is ended, you may see the recording and you can refer this recording for future purpose. And also when we upload the materials for your reference, you may see below this video part. So you can access these materials on daily basis. And also once the program is done, we will upload the assignments. For your reference, you may practice the assignments and you can do. Post 1 week, we will be sending assignment solutions also. So when you go for this curriculum, team, yes, the two things are here, curriculum and meet. Okay, so this curriculum consists of all the materials and recordings which we post for your reference, and this meet will be enable you to join the session every day. Okay, if you are unable to join the Zoom session, you can join, you can view the session under this sessions material and recordings. You will view this YouTube live. This is also YouTube live. If you click on this, you may see the Zoom live, sorry, YouTube live, and when the session is ended, you may see the recording. Okay, this is how you can access the materials and recordings for your practice. And also team, as a team already has informed you, one has to submit their attendance. So we have provided attendance link over here. It is active from 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. You have to submit your attendance in order to get this participation certificate. The one who has 60% of attendance for this Python for DS program will be getting participation certificate post this training ends. Team, is this clear? Yes, I'll repeat the steps firstly. Okay, so you have to log into our ExcelR platform, onlinelearning.excelr.com. So once you click on sign in, you may see this dashboard. If you can give your registered email ID and the password you have set up using the mail which you received at the beginning, you will be able to join the session. Okay, so you will be able to access our dashboard, where you will be seeing our Python for data science EDL program access. When you click on this, you will see these two tabs. Curriculum consists of all the materials and recordings, where Meet will let you join the session. Okay, this is how you can access the dashboard team. If you have any queries accessing this dashboard, or if you have not received any access from our end, you may reach out to our EDL team at edl@excelr.com. Okay, yeah, thank you team. We are very delighted to have you here with us. Happy learning with ExcelR solutions. Neha?
Yeah, hi Leela.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much, Leela, for walking through all the things. So I'm quickly going to share my screen. Let me know if that's visible. I hope you all can see my screen. Okay. Okay, fine, perfect. Let's get started. So I'll just do a quick intro about me, and then we'll go through what are we going to learn in this 14 days training, right? 42 hours training for the Python for the data science, right? So I'm Neha, and I'm working currently as assistant manager with KPMG. And coming to my education, I have completed my master's from IIT Madras, and since then I'm working as a data scientist, working with various MNC companies for various clients, be it the banking sector, insurance domain, or financial firms. I have in fact worked on the various healthcare clients as well, the oil and gas industries, right? So mostly we use these companies or these clients leverage data science for majority of the items are, for the marketing team, for the sales team, to increase the sales, to verify, or to rectify is there any pattern, and then they can leverage it, they do the customer behavior and all these things we are going to learn, right, over this series. Okay, so let's quickly walk you through what all we are going to learn. Okay, so we will be, starting with a quick introduction about Python, what it is, what are the different IDEs through which we can use Python, right? Python is a language, you all know, right? And we will see why we use it and all. But it is a language, but you need interface to interact with it, right? जैसे कि आपके पास, I hope you guys are comfortable with Hindi. Let's say if I switch for any example, most of the time I will be speaking English, but sometimes if I have to give some quotations or some other things in Hindi, and if you guys are not comfortable, please write in the chat. I will make sure that I'm speaking throughout in English. Okay. And yeah, so as I was saying, right, Python is a language, but you need a interaction UI to do it. So we call it as IDEs. So we will learn what are different Python IDEs through which we can interact with Python, right? Then we will learn what are the data types, what are the operators, right? What are the different data structure in Python. So these things we are going to cover. Then we will see what all kind of things we can handle with Python, right? What all different file type we can handle, what are different functions, how do we define functions, right? How do we leverage all these things. Then we will be switching towards slightly to the data science domain. So there is a lot of libraries, especially NumPy, Pandas, dplyr. All these things are mostly for the data reading, data wrangling. So these are the things which are widely used, in the data analysis or data visualization or data, pre-processing steps. And these are all part comes under data science domain only. So we will be learning all these things, these sessions also with a practical example. So I will try to give you as much as practical example based on my actual experience. So I will make sure that you are learning it. Your learning is on real time and real data, right? And then we will be learning data visualization, and we will also be seeing web scraping. Web scraping matlab, like you see a lot of content on the website, right? So let's say if I give you a website and you want to see what all things are there, so can you leverage it directly from the Python without even opening the link? So we call it as web scraping. So this also we will be learning. And then I think at the end we will also, if time permits, we will also be taking up real time problem of a data scientist, and we will see how we can use it using solve it using Python. Clear? Any questions in this? And no questions? Okay, perfect. So I guess most of the people are okay. Some people said no Hindi, madam. Okay, I understand. So I will be, speaking in English only. Okay, perfect. Then let's get started. Cool. So the question is, what is Python and why Python? Right? So why all we are here and talking about Python? Okay, because there were other languages also which existed before Python, right? C, C++, Java. But why there is so much buzz about Python? Why not these other languages? Because these are actually very old, right? It exists very long from the system. But there are certain very high, important advantage of Python, which these other languages doesn't have, and that's why there is so much buzz about it. Okay, so very first thing, it is a general purpose interpreted or interactive object oriented high level programming language, right? So if you see C, C++, these are mostly, for writing big programs, for the codings, or for developing the other, very integrated or, other kind of a domain. However, if you see Python, it is very general purpose. Like you can use it as a simple calculator. You can use it as a simple, a function creator, or in fact, moreover, it is very simple also. And you yourself will realize, if any of you has learned any of this language C++, you yourself will see Python is comparatively very easy as comparative to this. Okay. And second thing is, it has very large standard library. What does it mean? So basically what happens is, all these languages, how it works. So these are, we call it as open source libraries or open source software. What do you mean by open source software? So basically it is nothing but it is available for free, right? Open source matlab it is for free. Okay. And it is available for everyone. So what happens is, everyone collaborate on for this. So let's say if I am working on some problem and I found out a solution, okay, and let's say if I want to share that with the entire community, whoever people are using Python, they can actually leverage my solution, right? So it is that powerful. And whatever solution you can think of like that. let's say I was working on some problem and find out a solution. Now I put that solution into a library. I call that as a library. Okay. So I have put that solution in the library. Now what can do is, like, you all know what is library, right? Anybody who wants to read a book or find out some solution, they can simply walk into the library. They can search for that particular problem or for book, and they can simply find the solution. So that's how simple it is in Python, and that's why it is so widely used, because it has very large standard library as it is a open source software. So what happens is, you can think like, there is a one particular website called GitHub, if you are not aware. So what happens is, it is a code sharing platform. So like, आप लोग like, you use WhatsApp or Facebook to share images and all these things, right? Images, picture के लिए, media share and all, you use WhatsApp for that. Similarly, you can think like that GitHub platform is sharing the code. Okay. So share, let's say if I have developed a code and I will simply put it in GitHub, and if I make it public, so anybody in the world who is looking for that problem can go into the GitHub platform and can see it. So this is the power of, open source. And that's why Python is so popular, because a lot of people are using it, and a lot of people are solving problem on daily basis, and they simply put the solution over there. So what happens is, when everybody knows that, a lot of people are using, like, it is just like that, right? Why people buy a lot of Maruti in India? Because they know a lot of people are using. So जो service है, or whatever the service they are providing after sales, it is very strong, right? That's the reason people choose certain brands over others. Similarly, Python is so popular because people know that a lot of people are using it, and because a lot of people are using, uh, one person or the other will be solving some other problem. So they know lot of solution exist. So they know, if they will, stuck to somewhere, they will easily find the solution, versus compared to other Java or C++, in which, let's say, if they stuck, they don't know whom to ask, right? So the community is very big, just because it is a open source, and that's why the large standard library, and it's a high level programming, right? It is very simple, right? As I was telling, you yourself will see that it's very simple. Then it is a GUI programming, like you have the IDE. You can simply and very easily interact with the Python language, right? It is a very expressive language. So lot of things, if you see, right, it is very much intuitive. The syntax I'm talking about. Okay. And you, as you will practice it, you will know more about it. And it was first introduced in 1991. So if you see, it is also like, very old, but it is being popular just because now a lot of people in data science domain, data analyst domain, right, profile, they have started using it very heavily. And reason is very simple, because people had started developing various solutions. That's why people have started using it. Okay. And it was a Dutch programmer who initiated this. Okay. And the language places strong emphasis on code reliability, simplicity, so that programmers can develop application rapidly. Cool. Now let's move further. So what are the other features? So as I said, right, it is very easy to learn, read and maintain. There are very few keywords, simple structures and clearly defined syntax. So there is no syntax you will see it is very difficult. It is very easy and easy to remember also. So let's say, if let's say, you want to run, maybe find maximum item of the list. So the command will be max bracket list. That simple it is. So it's very easy to remember also. And even if, let's say, you are not able to remember, you can simply Google. And if you Google, and as I've been saying, community is so big that you can easily find solution in just first or second link itself. So finding the answer also gets very easy. Okay. Then it is easy to use, interactive programming experience hai, a broad standard library, right? There is lot of standard libraries are available for both for all the platforms, whether it is Unix, Windows and Mac. I believe most of us will be Windows, but even if you are Mac or Unix, you will get the support a lot, right? Then it is a open source, free to use and distribute, portable hai, supports a wide variety of hardware platforms, right? It is easy to port. Object oriented hai. Object oriented means, it is in a certain modular function, and we will learn more in detail what is object oriented programming. But it is we call it OOPS also. You might hear this term a lot, that Python is a OOPS language. OOPS, that is Object Oriented Programming Language. Okay, and we will see what it is going further. Okay, cool. So where is Python used, right? So if you see the all the bubble of 100%, mostly wide uses Python only. 30% of the people uses Python, then followed by Java, and then there is C++, Ruby, JavaScript, C, PHP, and other languages. So as I was telling you, Python is very widely used, and that's why it is getting so popular. Okay. Then it is used for system programming, web application development. So if you really want to, develop a game also, or a UI, you can do that using Python. GUI or scientific programming, data analytics, IoT, machine learning. So for all these purposes, Python can be used. Okay, installing the Python, right? So we will take it slow. So what I want is I will be showing you today how to install it and all, and then I will be showing you the web things and all, right? So it hardly takes 15 to 20 minutes to install all these things. So I would encourage, if whenever we will be having a quick break, right, that time if you can try installing it, so that if you are facing any error, we can discuss it right away. Because see, I mean, if you lose one day, then you will be, it will be difficult for you to build up. So I want you to install today itself, so that if you are facing any issues, either you ask today or mm, at the least tomorrow. Because if you are taking 2 more days, more than 2 days to just to install it, then you might be, lagging behind. And that's the reason I encourage you please install it right away. Okay, right away is I'll just walk you through, and then whenever we will be taking a short break, that time you can install it. It hardly take 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, so we will be installing the latest version. So I think 3.10 is also available now. So all you have to do is just go to on this link. So I'm just showing you, as you just have to click on this link. And when you click on this link, okay, so there is actually, so this is the first link, right? So down python.org, right? So as you can see, download Python. So it is already there in my system, that's why I'm not doing it. But as soon as do the download Python, it will be installed, I mean downloaded for you. So looking for Python for a different OS, then you can look for, if you are Mac or somebody, then you can go here, Mac, or for this is for Windows. Okay, so for Windows, you can directly install, and you just do a double click on this or run it as an administrator, like any other software you guys install, right? It is exactly same as that. No changes, no other difference. Clear? I hope that is doable and that you can do. Okay, as I mentioned again, it just take 10 to 15 minutes. You just have to run it as an administrator. Even it takes less than that, if I remember correctly. I did it long time back, so I don't remember exactly, but it hardly takes 10 minutes. Okay, fine. So that way you can just install it, right? And again, it is different versions are available for different kind of Windows. So please you check first what kind of Windows you have. Either you have Windows 7, 10, or whatever version. And that you can check by going into the Windows button and checking the properties. So with your computer properties, you can check that what kind of operating software you have, whether it is a 32-bit or 64-bit. These two things only you just have to check, and make sure you have sufficient, like at least 1 GB of RAM available. Okay, so I believe all of you might be having 3 or 4 GB RAM, right? It should be sufficient enough to run it. Make sure any other heavy programs, if you are running, close it. Otherwise your speed will be reduced. So once you check all these things, select the version appropriately. Like for Windows, if I go here, you can see here, right? Mostly you can select Python 3 release. That is the latest version. So why you see different version? So basically, like you all use phones, right? In phone also, you might be getting notification your operating system OS has been upgraded. Please upgrade it to the new version, right? So just like that. So there might be few bugs in the previous things, or new addition of some library or some function, right? That's the reason it's keep on upgrading. So it's always better to have the latest version, right? So you can install the latest version, and accordingly you can choose if you have 32-bit or 64-bit software. So please at least check this. Make sure you are downloading the appropriate one. Otherwise, it may get a problem. Okay. So once you do that, once you have installed it, so all you have to do is just download it like this. Once you have downloaded, then it will be asking you, do you want to run in this program? You simply click on run, right? Set a pop-up window. So all the steps is mentioned in detail over here, and I think this material will be getting uploaded on the link as well. So in case after this class you face any issue, you can go it through one more time, right? In case you are facing, but mostly you should not. It's pretty simple. You just click on run, and then there will be a green bar. You will be seeing processing bar. It will be showing you the progress. Okay, so if the finder, so that's what it will do it automatically for you, and it will be showing you install now, customize optimization. You just click on install now, and that's all, right? And so with that, it will be just showing you the progress, right? So just click on yes, allow the program to make changes to your computer. Click the yes button. During the installation, it will be show various components it is installing, so you can see the processing over here. So it should be completed till here. Make sure you are not clicking cancel or anything else by mistake when it is running. So as soon as it will be done, it will be showing you a message called finish. So it will be showing you like this, that setup was successful, and you can close the window. So make sure you are getting this screen, then only your setup will be successful. If you are not getting or getting some error, please try to search that error first on the Google why you are getting. If let's say you are not able to find the solution, the best thing is you delete wherever it has uploaded something, right? You restart your system and try it one more time. Let's say if you are still facing the same issue, we can discuss it over in this session. Okay, so but for that you have to try it out. Yeah, clear? Any questions so far? Anybody who has not installed anything or getting some issue while installing, just put it in the chat, or if you guys are able to unmute yourself and speak, yeah, feel free to do that. Don't hesitate. I would say make a maximum out of this session. Yes, is this latest version a stable version? Yes, it is a latest version, but still if you think you can see anything, even if you download 3.9, it is completely fine. So I have it in my system, the 3.9, because I did it some time back. So it is working fine. So if you want, you can just download 3.9 also. That's not a problem, because there will be very few changes might have done. So it hardly matters whatever you are using. Okay. Cool. So I hope you will do this whenever you get time, right? Whenever we'll be going break. So I think we'll be taking break somewhere around 12:30, so that you can quickly installing it, and we will try to troubleshoot if any of you are facing any issue. Cool. So yeah. Okay. Cool. So let's say once you have installed it, we have to check whether it has installed successfully or not. How you can do it? Simply you can go into the see users under your name. You can check in app data local program whether it is there or not. Or what you can do is very simple. You open your command prompt. So you have opened the command prompt, right? You just type CMD in your Windows. Just say your command prompt will be open. You just type Python over here. As soon as you type Python, you will be switching to Python window. So if you, I was telling you, right, Python is a language and then you need a IDE. So if you see Python is installed, but there is no IDE. IDE as an interactive session, okay, interactive UI. So if you see, I have to work here. So Python is working because if I do 2 plus 2, you see it will give me answer 4. Okay, so you can run any command of Python over here, but it is not user friendly, right? It is very difficult to work on command prompt. It is very difficult to even save anything if I want. Let's say if I have developed a code and I want to save it, so there is no way for me to save it over here. So that's why we need IDE for Python, right? So to give you example, when you will see that ID, it will be even more clear, right? So for example, let's say you want to, order pizza. So ordering pizza earlier, how it was that, you have to call that person and that person will place a order and your order will be booking. But nowadays things has been changed. There is a app for that. There is, what is the app? App is nothing but a UI, right? It is a user interface. It is providing a user interface. So first, Domino's earlier it was taking your orders over phone. Now Domino's has launched an app. It is just giving you a UI. Taki up, you can place your order, with just click of buttons. You can see how, where things are placed. You can choose what pizza you want, what toppings you want, right? So all these things have become a interactive for you. Same thing with for Python. So you can think like Python is as a Domino's. So Python exists. Now Python exists in your system, but how do I interact with Python? I need some UI for that, right? So that's why we need IDEs. And the very one more thing in Python is simply up. You can, just check in Python like this. So it will, first of all, it will show here once it is installed, right? Or the second thing, for the IDE, you can get it. There is something called idle. So IDLE. So this is also, by default comes with Python. So if you have installed Python, by default it will be coming. So you can simply click over here. So double click on this, it will be launched for you. As you can see, this is also a better form of CMD. Okay, so here if I see 2 plus 4, it will be giving you answer. So wherever you see, right, these uh, greater signs. So that's where you have to type your command and you will be getting an output in next immediate lines. Okay. Cool. So that's how you can check whether it is there or not. Okay. And as I was telling you, right, that you have in your command prompt, you can type Python and make sure it is working. So what happens is your path variable has to set for that. So 99% of the time, it will be set it automatically. So you don't have to worry about it, right? So as you said, right, I installed and it was there. So as soon as I type the command prompt and I type Python, it was here. But sometimes you might get error, Python is not available. Okay, so don't worry about it. First of all, you check whether you have Python installed or not. And if you see Python over here and still your command prompt says that it does not exist, which means that your path variable has not set. So what is path variable? Basically what happened is, this is your system command prompt, right? So your system is not aware that Python exists and where it is. So you have to give a path variable. You have to tell your system that where is your Python installed. Okay, so that's all it is. So that is all the Python variable is. So for that, what you can do is just click on the environment variable. So I guess you might have done this exercise for any other software also. Okay, so all you have to do is just click on the environment variables. As you can see, you will type NV, right? It will come edit environment, edit the system environment variables. So you just click on this, and here it will be coming as, the 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 path. So in this advanced, then you can say environment variables, and here you can find this path variable. In this you can, as you can see here, these are all the path variables is already here. So for me, if you see, it is already there, right? So let's say if I see, right? Okay, so here it will be, automatically there, the Python thing. If it is not there, all you have to do is you just copy paste that path where you have installed. So that path is this one. See, username app local program Python this. So this is the Python. So this path you have to give in your path variable. But this only you have to do only if it is not defined in your here. But mostly it will be there, so you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so this is the, here are the clear steps for setting up the path. So it is a variable where OS operating system stores the data related to the folders or directories, right? The variable is named as path. Okay, and in Windows it is path. So that's what we saw, and we are concentrating on Windows. Yes, we'll be only checking the path in Windows. Okay, so usually at the time of installing Python, the path gets set by default. right? Reference the previous slide installation. So it will be there by default, but as I was telling, right, only if 1% of the time it is not there. What you can do is, post installation, the path will usually have the path where the Python installation has been downloaded. This is the path where from Python interpreted is invoked. Okay, and you just have to give that path in that variable, and that's all. Clear till here? Okay, I hope things are clear. So we will see if, let's say, any of you are facing issue, right? And even if, let's say, it is not there, it actually doesn't matter. All you have need is just Python. So for this also, if you click now, you will directly be opening the Python CMD. As you saw there. So how we reached out to Python, there are three ways we reached out. First one is either you can open your CMD and type Python command. Then also you were seeing these three greater sign, right? So that is one way. Second is you forget about command prompt. You forget about path variables and all. All you have to do is just type Python in your thing once it is installed. And this is the first thing which you will be getting. This is Python CMD. So this is CMD command prompt specifically for Python, right? So yahan se you can access, or you can open that idle and then you can access it from here. Clear? So ये there are 3-4 ways to access Python from your system. Cool. So this is idle command. Everything does the same thing. All you are trying to access Python. That's all. These are different methods. Now I will be telling you another method which is even quite interesting and used a lot. Okay, because so far if you see, all these things are good if I have to run something and give the output. I will not be able to save the scripts. So if you see long codes, right, I mean, whenever you see a programming language, you see long codes, long functions and all written over there. So all these things I am still not able to save it over here. Okay, so that's why I need some more better IDE options. And for that, there is another thing called this Anaconda navigator system. This thing we will be switching to, after 2 or 3 days of sessions, because initial 2-3 days we will be just learning, basic syntax and all these things. So these ID, whatever we discussed so far, it is good enough for those basic ID, basic functions. But as we move on to, more complicated functions, like for data analysis, reading the data frame and all, right? So you will need better IDEs. So that's why there are, again, one software which you have to install, and that will solve all your problem. So as I was telling you, right, there are again multiple IDs for Python and for other languages as well. So there is this Anaconda navigator system you see. So the best part about this Anaconda is you name any language, any advanced language, right? Be it R, you might have heard about R also, right? It is also very much similar to Python, but however Python is more popular, and the reason I have already told you, right? So Python, R, Visual Studio, Django, right? All these things are already available in this Anaconda navigator. So you don't have to install all these languages separately, and that is the best part of out of this. So to install this, what you can do is you simply go to this link. Okay, and I'll just quickly show you. So I would encourage if you can do this as well. But this is the second priority. First priority is get that Python directly in your system. That is your, sorry. Yeah. So that's your first priority. Once that is installed and working, then you can, check here. Sorry, there's some problem. I'm not able to copy. Okay. Fine, I'm not able to copy, but you can copy paste that link, right? What I have to do is just Anaconda Navigator download for Windows. You can remove 10. Okay, so if you, so this is the first link what you will get, Anaconda Navigator. So you can go to the installation part, right? Here you can check, uh, sorry, yeah. So you can check for Windows option. There will be some file. So steps remain same. You will be getting that file over here, which you can, just simply do the installation for. getting just looking for that. Yeah, I think this one is this installation. Yeah. So here it is, installing on Windows. So this is the link I have shared. So it will be working on your system somehow. There is some issue. I'm not able to copy. So it is the same link. So you can click check whatever you have, Windows, Mac, OS, Linux and all. So let's say if you have Windows, you can go here, download this Anaconda installer, and then rest. It is very simple. You just have to click next, I agree, and just me. So all the detailed steps are given here. It will take some time. This one will take around 15-20 minutes, and depending on your network speed also. As I said, right, there are a lot of other languages also which it by default it provides you. That's why it take a lot of time. Okay, so this one you just have to click on next, and once it is done, that's all. So you will see this finish button at the end, and that's it. Then you will see that you can quickly verify your installation, and once it is done it, you can check Anaconda Navigator over here. So I will simply click on this and try to load it just to show you how does it look like. As I said, right, there are a lot of things, so it's a little bit heavy. Even opening it also takes a lot of time, but it has advantage that it has multiple IDEs at the same time. So that's why it is very good. So that's how it is. It is looking like. So if I make this picture bigger, so as you can see, it has. So we will be seeing, Jupyter notebook. There will be another thing called Spider also. These two are for Python only, which we'll be leveraging as we move forward. Okay, so that's how we can launch. So again, there are two ways to launch through this, right? एक तो आपके पास UI है, this Anaconda Navigator UI, which is now up, as you can see here. So यहाँ पर इतने सारे all these languages are there, Jupyter Labs, IBM Watson. But for Python, we just have to focus on Jupyter Notebook, and there is something called Spider. So we will learn both two things, and what is the difference between the two. But for now, I'm not going into that much detail. We will learn it over a time. But these two things exist. And let's say if you are interested in any other language, R Studio, PyCharm, you are feel free to use it from here. You just have to install it first and then launch it. That's all. So as you can see, I have already installed Jupyter Notebook, so I can simply launch it. Okay, so this is one way you open the UI and launch it. Again, har ek cheez ke, I mean, everything has two ways to do it, right? One thing is from UI, one thing is from the command prompt. So let's say, but command, this takes a lot of, I mean, this you saw, right? This take few seconds. So if you really want to be very fast, if you want to open, so again, it's for that you can go to the command prompt. So if you see, you type Anaconda, so Anaconda command prompt will come. So each and every software have individual command prompts also. When we have command prompt, which is for Windows, and then we have these separate command prompts. So you just click on this Anaconda command prompts. So if you see, this is the CMD for Anaconda. So on the top, you can see this is Anaconda prompt Windows. So all you have to do is just type Jupyter Notebook to launch it. Okay. Yeah. So Jupyter Notebook, and it will simply launch it for you. Okay. So I'll just quickly show you how it looks like. This is also, again, this is actually a much better version of that. So by default, it will be launching it in your, any of the default browser. All you have to do is just, click on the new, go here, new, and click on this Python. And you will be seeing this new notebook, which will be opening it up for you. You can do the same thing over here, 2 + 2, and then run this, or shift enter, you can run this, you see 4. So why this is much better than that? Because I can simply save this file. I can run the command. I can not only save the input commands, but I can save the output also. This is the very best advantage of notebooks or Jupyter notebooks. That's why if you see, it is much more popular. Okay, and we will talk about Spider later because then it will be too much information, right? So all these are different methods just to access Python. That's all. And you will eventually see we will be just using Jupyter and Spider only. That's all. The other command prompts are used only when it is very basic things you want to do. Okay. So that is what for the thing. And now, okay, let me check the question. Okay, somebody said, can we use Anaconda? Yes, that's what I'm saying, right? And somebody, okay, let's start from here. I have Windows 732-bit. Which version should I install? 3.10 is not being supported. So you have to search for Windows 732-bit, and you should see whatever is the latest Python available. You can install this. Okay, and if still you are not able to find, let me know. I will search it for you and will be sharing the link. Okay. Fine. And can we use Anaconda? Yes. Ideally, I would suggest you should use, use the Anaconda only, because I mean, as I said, right, everything is there, in one single thing. Because after 2 or 3 sessions, we will be switching to, the Anaconda only. Uh, the Jupyter notebooks and the Spider only. But it doesn't mean that you don't have to install Python. Python you please install, because it does not take much time. The initial command or the initial pre-processing, I would be telling you in that. So that's why I'm saying. But yeah, I mean, it's up to you. If you want, you can directly do whatever I'm telling you in Jupyter also. Nobody is stopping you. So in Anaconda, you please install Jupyter Notebook and work on that. I'm using PyCharm. Do I need to switch to Anaconda? I would say yes, because because the simpler reason, right? Because like I'm teaching you everything in Jupyter Notebook, so you might get different things in PyCharm. So for the consistency purpose, I would suggest you can install Anaconda, and then in fact, from Anaconda also you can leverage the PyCharm. Okay. I would suggest it would be better if you can do it. Otherwise, how else you are going to access, right? Separately, then you can install Spider or those other things. So that's the only reason I'm suggesting you do that. Okay, and I have Visual Code installed in my system, so the Anaconda installation is required for this program. So in Visual Code, you have installed, but then for accessing Jupyter Notebook specifically, you will need Anaconda, right? So that's the reason I'm suggesting that please install Anaconda Navigator system. Okay, yes, so I have already answered this. Okay, working in the company, what we use. So that's what I'm telling. Mostly we use Jupyter Notebook and Spider. So Spider and Jupyter Notebook both are the same thing. Just that in a Spider you have full-fledged code. You don't have an output saved. So if let's say you want to run something at the back end where you don't need output, you use Spider, right? And if let's say you are doing some analysis, you are doing some visualization, you need output also along with your commands and file. That's where you use Jupyter Notebook. Clear? Yes, you can use Collab also. So in Collab, but it is cloud based, right? Google Collab, I think, I guess you are talking about. You can use that as well. It's just that you will need internet all the time for that. The advantage over here is, even if you don't have internet, you can work offline. That is the only advantage if you have all these things installed. Okay, library installer we can install separately. See, library, if you're talking about Python library, yes, we will have to install it separately, because there are infinite libraries, right? So there are only very basic libraries which will be getting by default installed. But let's say if you are working on NumPy or Pandas or any other libraries, that time you will be, you will have to install them separately, and we will see that. So you don't have to worry about it as of now. Okay. If no further question, then let's move quickly on the Python interpreters, right? So, or do you got, okay? So difference between, and so that's what I said, right? Jupyter and Spider, there is a difference which I already explained you, and Anaconda is a way to get both the things at the same time. So you don't have to install the Jupyter and Spider separately. Okay, so with that, let's do one thing. Let's take a quick break, 10 minutes break now only. And then please try to install first your Python, and then you try the Anaconda Navigator, right? And if you are facing any issue, we will discuss that first initial 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, and yeah, and then we'll resume back again at 12:30. I think all these joining questions and all, you can ask, Leela can answer you more at the end. Again, they will brief you out. Uh, and I believe for Zoom link, you can use the link whatever is shared, or she walked you through the learning management system, right? Like that also you can join. We'll resume at 12:30. Okay, everyone, I guess everyone is back. So let's get started. So I see some of the things in the chat option. So I have already posted the link. So I apologize. Somehow I'm not able to copy paste. So I hope this link would work. I have typed it by myself. And should I check this option? You are, I mean, if you see the documentation, there is no need to. So you can ignore it. But even if you do it, it doesn't matter. So you can skip it for now. Right. So you can just follow quick these steps only. Just click on next. You can switch off. I mean, just leave the default setting. You don't have to do anything. Right. And then when you click on next, then it will be taking some time to complete it. It will take some 10-15 minutes. So anybody else facing the issue with Python, first of all, using this Python release windows over here? And I think one person asked that Python they need for Windows 7 32-bit. So did you were able to find that out or any other issue? So Sai Krishna has raised their hand. So you can type in chat if you're not able to unmute yourself and speak. Any further question which I missed? So starting from advanced SOAB, actually what I was told is there are other like I mean you guys are almost 500 people, right? So you all belong from the different background, but I will be going slow only in the initial few sessions, and then we will be picking it up. So whatever we have discussed, whatever agenda I have shown you over here, we will be making sure that we are completing this all these things in next 15 days, 14 to 15 days, whatever it takes, right? So all these things we will be covering it up, so don't worry about it. We have to ultimately take it slow, and then we will move on to advanced version of it. So yeah, so all these things if you see are advanced only. So even though it is the introduction, so today is the introduction class, so that's why we are taking it slow. From tomorrow onwards, whatever operations you see, even after that, that has some advanced level, right? So we will see those advanced applications also. So give us more time for installation. So I would say let it go at the back end, right? Because anyhow, I'm not gonna start immediately the implementation of the coding part, right? So we'll be just discussing more about from the theory perspective, trying to understand why Python work. So let me start that session, and your installation go at the back end. So that doesn't that is not the problem. Okay. I already gave you a break, right? So with that, let's move further, right? So now we are discussing the theory. So what I would suggest is, what if you have already started the installation, let it run at the back end. It doesn't matter. Just make sure you are not restarting the system immediately. Just switch. If it task for you at all, you can say that restart after some time. Okay. So with that, let's get back. So now what is, so we understand now how to install and all these things, right? Now let's quickly try to understand what is Python interpreters, right? Like how does it actually work? Okay, so it's a very classic example, right? So Pythons are interpreters. Okay, and what is interpreters are, suppose let's say if you are in some foreign country in Germany, or let's say if you don't understand English, if you are in US, or let's say maybe China or France, how do you connect with people? How do you interact with people, right? So that is the problem. And let's say if I am saying that I am giving you a translator to you. Let's say if you have gone to Germany and I am giving you a friend who knows German. So don't you think your life will be very easy, right? So that is what Python does. So Python is an interpreter who will try to connect you as a user to the machine, to the system. Okay, because we speak in English or whatever our local language, and computer understands some other language which is binary, right? You all might be knowing that computer understands binary language, or some decimal, or some hexa, or some octal number. So that is very different than the standard human language, and we need a program interpreter who can resolve or bridge this gap, and that is what Python does. Now, how it is different than compilers? So see, if you see C, C++, all these languages, we call it as compiler. However, whatever the new kind of languages like Python, Ruby, all these are interpreters. And how these two are different? So interpreters translates program one statement at a time. So Python read your code one line at a time. However, compiler, they read the entire program, they translate it, and they give it as a whole thing in one code. So it has various advantages and disadvantages also, which we will learn in next points. But one thing to remember is interpreters do it one by one. Just for example, if you have written a code 10 line of code, right, so it will just read first line, it will convert it or it will interpret it, then only it will moving to the second line. So what happened is, the very good advantage of this is your debugging is easy. What is debugging? Let's say you are getting some error in your code, and now imagine your code is 100 lines long or thousands line long. If you actually see the codes, right, it is actually that long. Okay, so if you know that, let's say if you are running that in a compiler, so what compiler will do, it will read all the 1,000 lines and then it will throw error. So first of all, it will be more time taken, because now it has read all the 1,000 lines in one shot and then it is throwing error. So let's say if it is failing at the initial first or second line, it is still going to read all the 1,000 lines unnecessary. That is one drawback of compiler and one advantage of interpreter. Okay. Second thing is debugging is easy. What is debugging? Debugging is simply means finding the problem or finding the issue. Bug. Bug हम किसको बोलते हैं? Bug is there is some bug in the code, right? You might have heard this term. So debugging means trying to find what is the problem in the code. And if I tell you that the code, the problem in this code is that particular line, don't you think that is simple rather than telling that there is a 1,000 line code, there is problem, I don't know where it is, right? So compiler does that, because compiler read everything at the one time and then it throws error. So I don't know at which line it is throwing error. However, with Python, you will see that if you are giving 100 line code, it will tell you exactly at which line your code is failing. So debugging is very easy, because at with that line it is failing, then when you know the problem, it's easy to fix, right? So and that's what, right, it takes less amount of time to analyze the source code, but overall execution time is slower, right? It take less time to analyze because it is doing it one by one. However, here it takes large amount of time to analyze the source code, because it is reading everything in one go, but overall execution time is comparatively faster. So that is the only advantage compiler have, that overall execution time is comparatively faster. Okay. And third point is, no intermediate object code is generated, hence memory efficient. So this is memory efficient because it is reading one by one. So one it is reading, it is processing, and it is moving ahead. However, here it is reading everything in one go, trying to process it. So the memory is requirement is very high in this case. Okay. Simply is another thing is continue translating the program until the first error is met, in which case it stops, hence debugging is easy. So we already discussed this, right? Debugging is easy in this case. However, here it generates the error message only after scanning the whole program, hence debugging is comparatively hard. And again, as I said, right, Python, Ruby, all these are interpreters. However, C++ are compilers. So these are the two major difference between Python and C++. And why I think now you get another incentive, that why do people use Python as comparative to other languages. Okay, cool. So let's quickly have a glance at how exactly it works, right? How does Python interpreter work? So, I mean, we will not spend much time on this because it's just theory part, but we'll just, it's easy, that how your code works, so that whenever you are working on something, right, you should have basic knowledge about it. And that's the reason why we are covering all these things here. And then we'll quickly move to the coding part. So when you instruct Python to run script, right, these are the few steps Python carries out before your code actually start crunching away. Specifically, it is first compiled to something called bytecode and then routed to something called a virtual machine. So what happens is, let's say whatever code you have, right? We call it as source code. So first of all, it is pre-processed into an intermediate byte code. Okay, so internally and almost completely hidden from you, Python first compiles your source code, the statement in your file, into a format known as bytecode. Okay, it is actually a translation step where a bytecode is a lower level and platform independent representation of your source code. So you can think like your entire source code is converted into an intermediate bytecode, and then you do the processing in your Python virtual machine. So PVM is nothing but Python virtual machine, wherein you can think like that, your once your program has been compiled or the bytecode has been converted, it is shipped off the for the execution to something generally known as Python virtual machine. Okay, so what it does is, it's just a big loop that iterates through your bytecode instruction one by one. So it does it line by line to carries out the operation. The PVM is the runtime engine of Python. It's always part of the Python system, and its component truly runs off your script. It is just the last step, what is called Python interpreter. So all you have to remember or do the takeaway of this is, your first the entire code has been converted into an intermediate bytecode. Okay, so it is a pre-processing steps, and then your processing happens in your Python virtual machine, where it happens one by one or line by line. Okay, so yeah, so that's how Python works. Right now, let's try started doing it in Python. So I hope you might have installed the Python IDE. I mean, this basic Python, what I said. So here, as you can see here, you can simply load the idle shell, or you can load the Python CMD also, up to you. So as you can just type this, you should get the output. So these are some mathematical operations which you can perform. Similarly, you can perform this, the string operations also. So very first command we will print is, we will use is print. So in print, so you can type print, and to give any string or use, right, you have to use quotes. So be careful of that. So whenever there is a number, you can give it directly, like 2 and 4 were numbers. So Python will understand these are the numbers, right? And but for string, let's say hello. Okay, so if I do or if I type just hello, right, let's say hello, so it gave error. What error it gave? Syntax error, invalid syntax. So it is an invalid syntax. Let's say even if I type he, it will now give error, that is he not defined. Oh, sorry, there was some. Okay, okay. Let me close this and open it again. Yeah. So as you can see, it says it is not defined. But so whenever you are giving a string or defining any other new thing, so you have to give it in quotes. So when I do hello in quotes, so you see it just type hello. So here it is did not give any error. Okay, and we will learn this in more detail. What are the data types and all. But here we are trying to understand what is print command. So whenever, let's say you want to print something in a code, right? As I was telling, one thing it will tell you that at this code, it is you are getting the error. So that is one thing. But let's say you have written a very big function and you want to print the value. You want to understand what is happening in the code, right? So you want to print something in between, that what is happening, at which step you have run, right? So very basic application is, if you imagine you have 1,000-line code and it is taking, let's say, 1 minute to run it. Now you don't want to wait your 1 minute, that where exactly your or how, which line you have used. So let's say you want to print something in between, okay, that you have reached 500th line or you have reached at 700th line. You can simply say reached here, right? Reached 500 line, like that you can say, and you can print it. So what happens is, when you are running the code, it will print this value whatever you are given here, right? So that is what print command does. And that's what makes your debugging very easy, right? So that's where you can use this print command. Okay, and you have to make sure that you are starting and closing your quotes. So what happens is, as you can see here, this will run. Okay, and in fact this command will also run. So you can type two values also within print. So if I just put this, Sorry, there is some serious issue with copy pasting. But what I was saying is you can type, okay, so like that. So you can type two values also with the code, but you have to make sure that you are starting the code and then you are ending the code. So let's try. So if you try see this, it will give you error. So what is this error? Let me just type it right away, right? So what it does is, so print, right? So see, it gave this error. Unterminated string literal or detected at line 1. So what happened is I started with this single quote, but then I ended it with double quote. So that is the problem, right? So you should make sure that if you are starting with a single quote, then you end it with a single quote, or if you are starting with a double quote, then you end it with a double quote. Okay, so let's say if I simply here simply now it will work, right? Because I started with a double quote and then ended with a double quote, and then you can give single quote and then end with double quote. Likewise you can give. Okay, so what it does is here it will give you so also pay attention to the syntax error whatever you are getting. So it will tell you what is the problem. So for example, here it tells me that unterminated string literal, which means that I did not terminated this single quote. So that's why it was telling that this is unterminated. Okay, so pay attention to whatever syntax error it is giving you, right? Because that's where your solution lies. So for example, here if you give it like that, it was saying that EOL is end of line. So end of line while scanning string literal. So that is same thing as unterminated literal, right? End of line is not happened. So here also we started the single quote, but we never ended it, and that was the problem. Okay, so as I was telling you, right? So what was the problem with that? So it interpreted it as a string, and EOL while scanning stands for end of line, and that error means that Python hit the end of the line while going through a string, but it did not find that closing quote. Okay, fine. So now another thing could be, if you give this backlash command in the steps, right? We call it as escape character. So this forward slash you see, this is, this backslash you see, this is escape character. And what it does is it escapes the characteristics of the following character and just keep its visual aspect. So we will see that where we use it, right? So we'll see going forward, where do we use it? So for example, let's say if I have to print this, okay. So let's say if I have to print this, let me do it right here. So, okay, so here as you see, it just printed over here, right? Because what it does is it forgot. So what happened is, let's say if I don't give it, then let's see if I don't give this command, right? I mean, this escape character, then what happened? So it give you error that invalid syntax. Perhaps you forgot a comma, or perhaps you forgot this, because it doesn't, because what it knows is it started here. You think like that, right? It started here, then it ended here, right? But then what is this there? There is no quotes over here, right? So that's why it is saying that it is invalid syntax. But in this case, why it did not give any error? Because I gave this escape character. So this escape character, what it does is it forgets what is the characteristic of this. Okay, so it just take it as visually. So visually you see this as a quote, and that's why you are seeing here. So it has print hello, because if you remember, it has not printed this initial one because this has some certain characteristics, because it know whatever is inside in these quotes it has to print. So it won't print this thing, right? But it, so same thing it does here, that it has to print this particular inverted comma, and that's the reason it has given you the escape character, and that's why you are seeing this quotes over here. Same way here you are have given this, so that's why you are giving the quote, and then Simply you are getting whatever inside in this. Get it? What is the use of this? So it can be used anywhere. Now in future also you will see lot of some special symbols. So we call it as special or reserved symbol. So there are certain symbols or certain keywords which are reserved for Python. Okay, so let's say plus is reserved, right? Plus for Python means it is 2 plus 2, right? Similarly, minus is reserved. 2 minus 2 is 0. So these are reserved symbol. Okay, but let's say if I want to really use that within somewhere. Okay, so what I will do is I will put a escape symbol over here so that it will forget that why it is reserved for, and you can use that for in your string. I hope that is clear. Okay, so any questions so far? I hope not. Okay, perfect. Fine. So let's move quickly. So now we'll be speeding up a little bit. So now Python, right? Very simple. It will act as a calculator. So as I saw here, right? You can do a very simple 2 plus 2 or very much complicated also. So you can do this percentage thing with a bracket thing. It will work it out. So what it does is, let's say multiplication division, if you want to do, it will understand what is bracket and all, right? It will solve these complicated things for you as well. So let's say if I just simply copy paste this, sorry, over here. So yeah, it works, right? So it will, you can do it by yourself. So it will first, you will multiply this, you will get 20. 20 divided by 4 is 5, so you will get your answer. So it is a very it is work as a very fast calculator, right? And then there are certain symbols reserved. So 8 divided by 5 is, it's a division fraction. So if you put double symbol, basically it will return the integer division, returns the floor value. So for example, if you divide 7 by 3, you will get 2, and then there will be some remainder, right? So it is giving you that integer division using this. Okay, and then you have this percentage module as well. So wherein 7 percentile 3, you will get the remainder, because 3 divided by 7, you will be getting 2, and right, and 3 2s are 6, and then 7 minus 6 is 1, so 1 is your remainder. So percentage, if you see, it is for remainder, and double difference, if you see, double division sign, it is for your integer division floor value. Okay, then you can assign values also, variable also. So abhi tak to what we were doing, we were directly dealing with the values, right? We were not assigning it to a variable. So now you can assign it to a variable also. So for example, I want to assign double a equal to 5, okay, and double b equal to 6. So I can do double a plus double b, so it will be 11. So likewise also you can do, you can assign it to a variable by simply using equal, and that variable will be stored in this session and you can use it. But remember, this will be only stored in this session only, because you are not able to save it. It will be there in the memory only. Okay, so let's say if I open a new window and if you type there double A, it will give you error that it doesn't know what is the double A. And that's the reason why we have Spider and Jupyter Notebook, because we can save the code over there. So I can simply save it and open it anytime so that I can resume my work. That's why we work over there, not here. Okay, so simply you can give tax, what is price, you can multiply, do any kind of things, right? So these act as a simple calculator. Okay, now let's try to understand what are the language syntaxes, right? So first of all, what is identifiers, right? So I mean, in real world, everything has name, right? What is identifier? How do you identify? So abhi jo humne like we used A, B, C, all these things, right? These are nothing but identifiers we gave. Okay, so in real words, we all have names, right? We were all identified by names, right? A car can be a Maruti, a car can be a Lamborghini, right? So it is because it has name, then only you identify, because you associate it, you associate that name with respect to certain features. Okay. Similarly, every data type in Python has to be provided a name before we can work with it, right? So a Python identifier is a name used to identify a variable, function, class, module, or any other object. So we will all see going forward, there are more than, not just the variables, we will be working with function, we'll be working with class, modules, and any other object also. But all these things should have a name. Then only we can work it with it in Python. Okay. So what are the naming rules? What name I can give, what name I cannot give? Let's try to understand that more. Okay, so variable length can be of anything. So there is no constraint on length of the variable, right? It can be as long as you want. Okay, then it has to start with a letter, that is A to Z, or underscore followed by 0 or more letters, underscore 0 to 9. So it can be anything within this, right? There can be numbers also, there can be A to Z also, small case, lowercase, or even underscore also. Okay, no other special characters are allowed, so only underscore is allowed. Even space is also not allowed, it will give you error. So let's say if I try to give a comma a equal to 5, it will, sorry, or let me do x y equal to 5. So it will give me error, invalid syntax. However, if I give x underscore y, it will be fine because it has saved the variable. So it has to be a continuous thing. There should not be any special symbol between the two. Okay, so no other special symbols are allowed. Identifier names are case sensitive. So for example, if you are given a equal to 5 and capital A equal to 10, so these two are same different variable. These two are not same thing. So if I do a plus a, it will be 15. Okay, so it is case sensitive. Then Python doesn't allow spaces within an identifier. So we already saw it doesn't allow spaces in between. Okay, and Python does not allow punctuation characters also, so these are other symbols also are not allowed in the names. It's a case sensitive programming language, thus manpower and manpower are two different identifier. So even if you one of the character are small and bigger, it is different. Okay, clear? So what are the other things, right? Naming conventions. Typically, classes name starts with uppercase. So we will see going forward what are class, what are objects. But for now, just remember that there are some naming convention we follow with respect to data types. Okay, so if your data type is class, right, it should start with uppercase letter. Okay, and all other identifiers start with lowercase letter, right? So, and then starting an identifier with a single leading underscore indicates that identifier is private. So for example, if I am assigning something like that, right, underscore starting with underscore, or let's say ABC equal to 5, so it is considered it is something private. So we will see that in future what does it mean, but for now just remember this. Typically we don't do it. Typically we never start with underscore because it is again, as I mentioned here, right, it is reserved for private identifiers, and we will see that what it is when we will learn about class. That time we will see what is private identifiers. Okay. Similarly, starting an identifier with two leading underscore indicate a strongly private identifier. So again, these two are not recommended, right? We should not start with single underscore or double underscore. If the identifier also ends with two trailing underscore, identifier is a language defined name, right? So it can work, but typically you should underscore only in between, not at the start, not at the end. Okay. So all these things can work, small x, bigger x, self underscore given by this, right? These will not work. Number has to start with letter. It cannot start with number. So this will fail. So let's say I want to give 0x equal to 10, it will fail. It will give you a syntax error. So why I'm telling you all this, because let's say if I don't speak about it, right, and we directly jump into the coding part, you will never know that these are certain rules, and by mistake you might give this variable's name, and you might face error, like some things are not working or syntax error. You may not be able to resolve it, that why you are getting this syntax error, right? So now you have this uh, invalid token, right? Like you see that we have this number and you have this invalid token. Okay. uh, then you have this reserved words which cannot be used to name any data identifier are reserved words, right? So as I was telling you right in the beginning, that there are certain words which are reserved by Python and which cannot be used, sorry, which cannot be used as a variable or some other thing. So we have to be careful about it. Okay, so for example, false class finally is returned. So there are certain word false which you should not use. So let's say if I give false equal to 1, it will give error, cannot assign to false, because this false word is already reserved for Python. So there are certain keywords which are reserved, which you cannot use for variable assignment. So you will learn all these words after some point in time, but whenever you get this error cannot assign, so don't use that variable, give something else. So let's say false 1 I can give, so it will work. Okay. Similarly, none, false, true, none, and, elif, if or yield, assert, else, import, pass, break, accept, and raise. So all these words are reserved words. Okay, we will know about them later, but why don't you try using them, right? So just now we saw it, right? It was not working. Okay, so let's say global uh, equal to 1. So again, global is also fixed, so that's why you cannot use it. Okay, so what are some of the comments? Like pass comments loud, clear, and probably those rare occasions when you can do so without fear. So there is, so whenever you want to, let's say, because when you code, right, there are certain things which you want to make it as a note, or you want to save it for future, or you want to make sure that people, whoever is reading the code, it is clear that what that next section is going to. So there is certain thing called hash. So we call it as comment. So for example, in a code, let's say if you want to add comments, you can do that using hash function. So all you have to do is that this is a comment line. That's all. So here you're not seeing this, but in code you will see this line is coded with a different color. So let me show you in a Jupyter notebook quickly. So let's say if I do it here, right, 2 plus 2 plus 4 equal to 5. But let's say if I, as soon as I put this hash symbol, you see color has been changed. So this is a comment line. So here you can type anything because it is not the code. It is a comment which you are doing. So let's say this is a comment line which defines what below code does. So typically it is for giving the comment that what this next section is doing. Then you can write your code. So it is just for readability. Whoever, let's say you also are reading your code after some point in time, right? After half an hour, after 1 month or 2 months, then you can see and quickly understand. So for that, you just have to put a hash symbol over here. So this is the first comment, then your code. You can give it after the line also. This is the second code, right? Like that also you can do. So remember, wherever you will give this hash, after that, it is a comment, not before it, but after that it is a comment and it will not be considered. Okay. However, within the quotes, it's not a comment, then it's a variable. So for example, if I want to give something, let's say a equal to within this. Now let's switch to Jupyter. We will be doing these things in Jupyter. Okay. So let's say ABC. So you can run this. For running, you can either click on this or you can do Shift Enter. Okay. So here things are very easy. So as you can see, it will shows you which command I have run first, and then after it shows you the sequence, right? It will tell you the output over here directly, right? So that's, it is very user friendly. That's why in most of the, if some of you are asking, right, what is used in industry, 80 to 90% of the time Jupyter notebook is used, where you develop your code, and once your code is developed and let's say you want to run it at the backend, then you simply copy paste it in Spider. So Spider is again a different ID where your just the file type changes, where you are storing all your input commands over there. Once you have, let's say, run it through the Jupyter notebook. Okay, fine. So this is the comment thing, right? And triple quote. So triple quote is also a comment. So it is a multi-line comment. So let's say if I have 2 lines, okay, so instead of putting the line over here, so let's say if I don't forget to put here, so it will throw error that this is an invalid syntax. Okay, so either I can put a comment over here also, Or what I can do is I can go multi-line. So for multi-line, what I can do is simply I just have to put 3 quotes. That's all. So whatever I will write in 3 quotes, it doesn't matter if I am not giving hash. I have to close this 3 lines quote over here. Then it is a multi-line quote. That's all. Then you can type your command. Clear? For single line, it is hash. For multi-line, it is you start with these 3 quotes. And then you end these 3 quotes. That's all. Okay. It can be used to generate, documentation automatically. Okay, so as you can see here, you can simply like all these things, whatever we discussed, right? So here it is a quick snapshot of that. Okay, so that is what you will get. Then there are certain colors associated with the syntax. So as I was telling you, right, comments are for red. So as you can see here, comments is in red. Okay, and then if there it is something called which is reserved, right? Keywords, so that is orange color. Similarly, there are certain strings. So if you type string, right, then it will be a green color. Similarly, if there is a miscellaneous word, then it is a black, or if for definition, it is blue. So we were seeing that in the Python shell. It is different than Jupyter. So when we were seeing over here, right, there, these are the color we were explaining. So for example, if I type false, you see it turned orange. So it ran without any error. It was orange. Okay. So these are certain commands, right? Now let's switch to when you have to write multiple line of code blocks or line indentation. Okay, so blocks of codes are denoted by line indentation. No braces or keywords to indicate blocks of code of class and function definition of flow control. The number of spaces in the indentation is a variable, but all statement within the block must be indented by the same amount. So what does it mean? So let's say if I have to write a block, right? Let's switch to Jupyter only. I'll be showing because it's very easy and convenient for you also to understand. So what does it mean? Let's say if I want to type multiple line of codes, right? So what I can do is if let's say if you say 3 is less than 5, okay, then all you have to do is, because there is a code in indentation, right? So I know if this is condition is true, then you have to put colon. And as soon as you will press enter, you will see my cursor put came here. It will not come here because this is a condition. If it is true, then it is like that. Then let's say print, I can print anything, right? 3 is small. Okay. Or let's say if I want to give something else, I can just go one back out and give like that. Else print nothing. Okay, and as soon as I click here by on this, you see it printed like this. 3 is small because 3 was smaller than this. So that's how multiple line of codes are written. Okay, so it is up to you that if your lines are interconnected. So that's how the code and indentation work. So if there is if else or any other command, then the next line will be indentated. There will be indentation. So this indentation also has to be proper. So let's say if I missed one space, right? Let's say it's not a tab. So you see it is giving in red. So which means that it is not properly formatted. Even if you run this, it will give error. So it is giving you error over here. So make sure you are giving proper tab over here. So either you can press tab or it is 4 spaces. Okay, so with that it will run successfully. So this is the correct format. That's how you should be giving. So you can try without indentation. So let's say if you do this, right, you will see the error. So there is a syntax error, expected a indentate block. So it will tell you. So as I was saying, right, whatever error you are getting, it will tell you what is the error so that you can resolve it. So you can see it is clearly telling you expected an indentated block, and which means that you should give a indentation over here or a tab over here. So if you run it, it is gone. Okay. Now we have this multi-line statement. Okay, so multi-line statement as in, let's say uh, all these things which we are discussing, it is important because when you start using it, right, that time you will not realize that you need them, because some of the times your code line is such a big thing that you want to, switch to other line. So there has to be a continuity. So let's say if you put this symbol, at the end of the line, which means that there is a continuity. So the next line will be considered part of the first line itself. So that's why, you can put this backslash end of the each line, so that your next line is connected to that. Okay, so statements contained within bracket and all don't need multi-line breakers. So this is only for the string. So but let's say if you have already put brackets, and we will see what are all these brackets, right? But if you already put this but brackets, then you don't have to give this, because then it knows that where this ends, where this starts and where this ends, that is one single thing. Whether it is in single line or multiple lines doesn't matter. But in this case, it doesn't know. That's why you have to give this end symbol over here. Okay. So now let's do a quick, quiz, whatever we learned so far, right? Let's see how much we have learned. So I know you guys cannot speak, right? So we will be quickly walking through. I will just think by yourself and see whether you are able to give a right answer or not, right? So first question is Python case sensitive when dealing with the identifiers? So yes, it is a case sensitive language, right? Because we just saw that if you give a small a or capital A, those two are different things. Next question is, what is the maximum possible length of the identifier? So anybody want to guess? So it is actually none of the mentioned. There is no length, maximum length for the identifier. You can give as long as possible. Okay. Then which of the following is invalid, sorry, out of these three? So can a letter can be started with underscore? Yes, it can be, but it is reserved for private class, which we will see later, but it is not invalid, it is valid. Similarly, double score, yes, it can start. In fact, triple score can be started. It's just that their use cases are different, but it is not invalid. Okay, so the answer is none of the mentioned. So none of them are invalid. All three are valid only. Okay, let's move on. So which of the following is an invalid variable? Here, anybody wants to guess? So it is actually B. Because why? I clearly said that none of the variable can start with number. You can give underscore also. This is also acceptable, but this is not acceptable. Starting with number. Okay. Now, why are local variable names beginning with an underscore discouraged? So why I tell that you should not use underscore at the front? Because they are used to indicate a private variable of a class. So the answer is A. Okay, they are used to indicate private variables of a class. That's why it is discouraged, right? Now, all keywords in Python are lowercase, uppercase, capitalized, none of them mentioned. So there are certain keywords, right? Like false, true, and not. So if you see, they are mix of it. Some of them are lowercase, some of them are uppercase, some of them are capitalized. So actually it is none of the mentioned. It is a mix of all three. Okay. Which of the following is true for variable names in Python? So, right. So which of the following is true for variable names in Python? Just see, unlimited length. It can be unlimited length, right? Yes. All private members must have landing and trailing underscore. No, it is good to have. It is not must have. Okay. Underscore and ampersand are the only special character allowed. No, it is not allowed. So the answer is unlimited length. So only A is true. Now, which of the following is an invalid statement? Is this an invalid statement? No, there is a variable and it is assigned. Is this the invalid statement? Yes, because here you are giving spaces also. Here also there are spaces and here also there are spaces. So this is an invalid statement. This is a valid statement because here in one line you are assigning 3 variables. So if I run this line, what happen is it will be assigned subsequently. So if you want to see, if I just run this, so if I just print A will be 1000, B will be 2000, and C will be 3000. So it will work like that. So it is a valid statement. Now, which of the following cannot be a variable? So actually, there is this in word which is fixed, which is reserved. So that's why it cannot be a variable. Others can be a variable. Okay, so the answer is B over here. Cool. Any questions so far? We'll take just 1 minute break if you guys have any question. Otherwise, we'll move on to data types. All clear? Okay, you guys were giving answers also, so that's great. It's just that like from tomorrow onwards we'll be trying starting early also. We lost a lot of time, so that's why but yeah, tomorrow onwards we will be making sure that I'm asking you all those answers from you guys. And it's really I mean, I feel really happy that you guys are showing the participation. So tomorrow onwards we'll definitely try to make this that you guys are answering. Okay, perfect. So any questions so far? Shall we move ahead to data types? Okay, if no question, then let's go move on to the data types. So what all different data types we have in Python, right? We have numbers, we have strings, we have Boolean, we have list, we have tuples, we have set, and we have dictionary. So all these things we are going to learn in next 2 or 3 days. Okay. So some of them are very simple, as you can see, right? Numbers, strings, Boolean. Some of things we will see like dictionary, tuples, sets, or list you might not be even heard of. So we will see learn them one by one. Okay. So first numbers. So any variables which store numerical value are numerical data type, right? So as you can see here, if I do I assigned a equal to 1000, right? So there is this command type we can do in A. So it will tell you. So type of bracket may you have to give a variable. It will tell you what type it is. So it is an integer. Okay. Similarly, let's say if I give A equal to int, actually it's a string, right? So if I do type of A, it's string str. Okay. So it's a numerical one. The example of numerical are 10, right? 1000. Even the complex number are also numerical. Okay. So whenever you assign a value to the numerical data type, it creates a numeric object. So as soon as you do type of that, right, you can see it's an integer class. So it belongs to certain classes, right? All these data types. So that's why you will heard this term class, and it's an integer class. Okay. And numerical data types are immutable. Immutable means you cannot change the value. So this means changing the value of a numerical variable actually results in creation of the new object. Okay, so what does it mean? So let's say if you have assigned a variable 1 and there is an ID of this variable. Let's say if you assign the new variable, the ID will be changed. So it is immutable. So the ID of the variable, if you see, it is different. So what I'm trying to say is I'll repeat. So let's say you assigned variable 1 equal to 10. Now the ID of this variable was this 5057026672, right? So now if you change this variable value, now the same variable 1 you assign 20. And if you see the ID of the variable, it is not same, it is different. So which means that it has actually created a new object. It is not the same object. Okay. So it is just for theory purpose, nothing to use as such. So you can change the value of the variable. That is up to you. It's just that it will be a new variable. It won't be an old variable. Okay. Now deleting a Python number type, right? To delete the reference of a number object using the delete statement. So you can actually, delete the reference of the numerical object, right? Like here you can see. So we saw the type of the variable. So integer and float, there are two classes. So integer is when there is a whole number, and when there is a decimal number out of this, so that is a float. Okay, so if it is just 10, then it is an integer. If it is 10.0, then it's a float. Okay, so it's a decimal value, so it's a float. Okay, and when you print the value, you can see it is this. And as soon as you deleted the variable, right, and if you do the type, so that variable also is deleted. So the ID itself is deleted. So let's say if you want to delete some variable, you can simply do delete and that variable name, that's all. Okay. Now it supports different type of numerical numbers, right? So first one we discussed integer, that is signed integer. They are often called just integer or ints. They can be positive or negative whole numbers with no decimal point. So just make sure that there is no decimal. So as soon as there is a decimal, even though it is 0.0, then it will become a float number. So float point real values, which means that it has a decimal number, or it can be a scientific notation also, right? Like this 2.5 e to the power 2. So that is also a float. Then we have this complex number. Of course, complex number are used very rare, but it exists. It supports complex numbers as well. So they are a form of this, right? You might be aware about complex numbers. There is a real part, that is A, and B is the complex part. So where A and B are floats and J or small j. So here these are the two same thing. Capital J or small j represents the square root of -1, which is an imaginary number. So if you are aware about complex number, you will be knowing this. There is a real part and there is an imaginary part of this. So the real part of the number is A and the imaginary part of this number is B. And as I said, right, it is not used much in Python programming, but it supports for the sake. So there are few examples of integer. So 10, 100, and then -786. All these are integer. Even this 0 cross 260 are integer. These are in hect and octa, right? Then there is some example of floats, right? And then there are some examples of complex numbers. Okay. So complex number, I mean, I'm not going to much detail because these are not real, used much, but you can just, for the sake of going, you can just simply check over here that you can multiply two complex numbers. You can add two complex numbers, right? You can get the real part. Like if you do define a variable and you just do a dot real, you will get the real part of it, right? So all these things are possible. Now, some of the mathematical functions, let's discuss quickly. What are some of the mathematical functions which Python supports? So first is the absolute value. So absolute value is that the positive distance between that, right? So let's say if I do absolute of some negative value, it give you absolute value, right? Absolute value is nothing but the mode. आप मोड देते हो, right? आप negative value को positive में convert कर देते हो. So that is what the absolute. So ABS is used for that. Similarly, there is a CEIL seal command, sealing of X. So that is the smallest integer, not less than X. It is run. So for example, if I have something, some float value 5.4. Okay, sorry. Sorry. So I mean, sealing of X, the smallest integer, not less than that. So I think for this, I have to call import meth. Seal is not defined. Let's look at this, right? So this is a good example. Let's try to troubleshoot. Okay, so it is giving me error. Seal is not defined. So absolute was a defined function. So that's why if you see, it was giving in green, but seal is not coming. So it is saying that seal is not defined. Tell me what is seal. Okay, so now let me search this only. See what is the seal command. Sorry, seal in Python. So it's very important what you are searching. So this is the function, right? It gives you floor and seal. Actually, I'm looking for this function only. So what might be happening? It is belonging to some library. Yes, see, import math. So as I was telling you, right, earlier में हमने discuss किया था that there are certain libraries and Python we use because it is have a huge library, right? So basically, this function, some of the functions are not by default in Python. They are part of some library. So you have to call that library in order to use those functions. So the seal command, it's not from the basic command. So all you have to do is I already imported math. So there is this library called math. So all I have to do is just math.seal. Now it should work. See, 6 it gave. Because now it know that the seal function exists in math folder. You can think like it is a folder. So as soon as you import this library, you have opened a folder in which there is a math, and math folder, there is this seal function. So I am calling the seal function from the math. And what it does is basically it will give you the just next immediate integer number. And similarly, if you do the floor, it will give you 5, basically lower number than this, lower integer number. Okay, so this is seal and floor function, right? Similarly, you can use compare, right? Compare if you do x and y, so it will give you -1 if it is x is less than y, or 0 if it is equal, or 1 if x is greater than this. So you can use it like that, right? You can use exponential, you can use absolute value of x using fabs, you can use floor function, you can use log, natural logarithm, you can use base logarithm, you can use max of this. So let's say if you have three many variables, right? So you can give 10, 15, 60, right? Let me give this. So it will give you max value. So whatever the numbers, whatever is the maximum, it gave you 100. Similarly, min value it will give you, right? Mode f it will give you, right? So if let's say one particular variable is value is as getting more and more, right? So it will tell you this. So all these are mathematical function. So most of them belong to the math library only. So you have to import math library and then use math.function name. Okay, it's mentioned over here. So math dot, I mean, see, as I said, right, some of the functions are by default. So max is by default, but it may happen that like we saw CL, and in fact compare function may not be by default. So if I put that here, right, CMP, so you can see it is black, it has not turned green. So iska matlab it will give me error. So if I do 10,15, it will give me error. So as soon as I put this math dot, it is fine now. Okay, so again it gave error because it may not be even the in from the same library. Let me check. So it what it says is math has no attributes of CMP, which means that math does not have any function known as CMP. So let's search with the same thing. So whenever you fall into such thing, right, that you are getting error, all you have to do is just copy paste this error in your Google. So that's what I'm saying, telling you, right? So many people use this, and that's the reason, it is आपके सारे प्रॉब्लम का you have the solution. Okay, so let's search for this problem, right? So math has no attribute of CMP. So actually it may be happening that this compare function does not exist in math. So then you can search that how to compare two numbers, right? So how to compare two numbers in Python simply. So when you do that, right, either you can use this, that whether it is less than or greater than, or you will get some other thing, some other code also. Okay, cool, fine. So then you have power function, round off. Let's say you have a very big whole decimal number and you just want to round off to 2 decimal place or 3 decimal place. You can do that using round function. You can use a square root function, right? All these mathematical function you can use from the math library. Okay, so Python converts numbers internally in an expression containing mixed types to a common type of evaluation. All right, but sometimes you need to coerce the numbers explicitly. So what happened is, let's say you are reading some numbers from the file, right? So it may happen that even though it is an integer, but it is not read as an integer by Python. So sometimes you have to forcefully mention that it is an integer, or it is a some other variable. So that also you can do. You can simply put int and pass that variable, so it will be an integer for now. So for example, let me give you this example. Right, so let's say if you have given maybe let's say 4, and then when I do type, right, it's a string. But let's say I know this is 4, right? So this is not a string. I want to convert into integer, so I can simply do int a. So now it is 4. right? I mean, basically, I can save it in, let's say, some other variable. And when I do this type of B, it will be a int. So this happens a lot because we read data from CSV, right? CSV file, Excel file from some other sources. So data conversions happen a lot. So you have to make sure if there is a numerical column and if you have reading from CSV or Excel file, it is in a integer format. If not, then you have to convert it like that. Okay, that's where these things are used. Similarly, you have to convert in float, or if it is a complex number, you can convert it like that, right? So these are the few things which you have to remember. Okay, then coming to the mathematical operators, right? You have all these operators available, arithmetical operators, and you can do plus, minus, multiplication, division, right? Get the remainder, get the quotient of the thing, right? Get the square of the variable, power of the variable, right? Then we have comparison operator, greater than, plus, sorry, greater than, less than, equal to, not equal to. This is not equal to symbol, and this is equal to symbol. Then you have logical operator, and, or, not. These are the assignment operator. So if you put double, equal, that means this is a comparison operator. So if, let's say if I do 3 double equal 5, it will give me false because it's a comparison I'm doing. Whether 3 is equal to 5, so it's no. Let's say if I make it 5 equal to 5, it will be a true, right? So it is a comparison. If I have to assign something, then this is just one single variable. A equal to 5 is an assignment variable. Okay, so that's why you see assignment operators. Similarly, plus equal to means you are just adding it up, right? So what happens is, let's say a this here. So if I just do a plus equal 4, right? And I run this, and we will say a equal to 9 ho gaya. So it adds up. Whatever a value was a, it will add up the next value. So 5 plus 4 equal to 9. So again, this is the assignment operator. A ka value change ho gaya, right? A value got changed. Similarly, you can do minus, you can do division, you can do multiplication. Then you have bitwise operator, and, or, not symbols. Then you have this in, not in, is, not in. We will see these where all these operators are used. Okay. So here in detail you can read about it. This is exponential, right? Raised to the power 4 to the power 2. So let's say 4 and then double 2 you put, then it is 16. 4 ka square, you can give 3 cube of that, right? So this is exponential one. This is complement symbol. This is plus, minus symbol. These are multiplication, division, modulo, flow division, addition, subtraction. This is right bitwise, left bitwise. We will see whenever we are going to use, right? So all these things are listed over here. You can go through it at your own pace. So we will learn that one by one whenever it is coming our way, right? So all these things exist. Identity operator, membership operator, not and all, right? Where all it is used. So now quickly do the thing. So this one, let's try to, do it with you guys, see how much you have learned, and then we will stop after this quiz. Okay, because we have learned a lot. It's too much for you guys also to process all these things, right? So we'll stop after this quiz. So let's try to answer this quiz. Okay, I will be asking this thing to you guys, and you guys have to answer me real quick. Okay, so what is the output of this? Is it gonna be true or false? Answer me in chat, or just have a quick glance and then answer me in chat whether it is true or false. Let me, true or false, or you want to see it again? True? Yes, it's true. Point 1 plus point 2 equal to point 3. Perfect. Which of the following is not a complex number? So which of the three is not a complex number? Just tell me A, B, C, D. Which one is not? Answers? Why D or B I'm seeing? No, it is a way to define complex number. So what we learned is real number plus imaginary number followed by J. So this is a real, this is a complex number. This is also a complex number because you can search, right? We can just quickly check over here. See, it gives the complex number. So it is the right answer. So B is not the answer, right? Mm. Actually, it is C, because here it is I. So I is not the way you give imaginary number, right? It is J. So that's why C is wrong. Okay, fine. So the value of the expression this and this is same. Yes, true or false? Just have a look quickly. Only difference is this bracket. That's it. So true, true. It is true. Yes, it's true. It's just this bracket. So it follows the BODMAS rule, right? If you follow the BODMAS rule, you will get the same value. Okay, come on, quick one here. What will be the value of x? So 43.55 plus 2 comes around 45.55 divided by 2. So what will be the integer value of that? 22, 23, 43, 44. What will be the value? 20. Why will be 43? I think you guys are confused. Just take a look. So it is 45 something, right? When you divide 45 by 2, it's gonna come around 22 point something. So the integer of 22 point something is 22, right? Because it is less than 46. So it cannot be 23. So it is 22. Okay. Which of the following is incorrect? Just have a quick look. Answers. A, C, A, C. Let's do it one by one. Float INF कर लेते हैं. Let's do it in here, Python में ही. Wait. So this is a different error, right? Because this is invalid character. That's what happened. You copy paste from somewhere, so the codes get changed. So this is fine. This is not the problem. So A is not the right answer. Similarly, B is also not the right answer. Let's do C. C में क्या होता है? When we do C, I have to change the codes every time. It also adds up. This is the problem. D is the wrong answer. Because in here, you are giving it as thing and this is not right. You cannot convert this as a float, right? But however, you can convert this as a float because when you adding up these two variable, it is just placing this 56, 50 and 78. They are placing it together. It is not addition, right? So it is placing it together. So the answer is D. Similarly, what does it evaluate to? So 1 is less than 3. So you can get it is a true or false, right? So it is false. And then here it is true. So false minus true is -1. So the answer is -1 over here. Okay. Similarly, so I mean, you can just do a simple mathematics and give me the answers. So you have a look and then I will shuffle the chat. So what is the right answer? 3 to the power 2 is 9, right? And 2 to the power 9. What it will be? 2 to the power 9? Of course, 64 नहीं होगा, 512 होगा, right? Similarly, 2 to the power 3 is 8. 8 to the power 2 is 64. So of course, your answer is D, no matter what is the third, because these two are correct, right? So your answer is D. Similarly, here you can do the calculation and give me the answers. Or you can simply do it in Python and get the answer. 8.0, right? So 8.0 is the answer. Because it's a float, 8 cannot be the answer. 8.0 is the answer. Okay, cool. So I will stop here because string will be taking up from tomorrow. If you guys have any question, we can discuss that. Any questions or any queries so far? No queries? Okay, perfect. Which means that I think I did a good job. Asha, you have any question? You have raised your hand. Share notes. Yes, I think all these things will be already shared you on the your portal, uh, right? And Leela and other team from ExcelR can help you out. Yes, it's too much for one day. I understand, and that's the reason I stopped it before time, because I don't want to bombard you with all these things, right? So that's why we have stopped it here, right? We will be just taking it bit slow, okay, for the initial few days, and then we'll be leveraging it more, right? So attendance part, I think ExcelR team can help you out with that. Okay, and all the lecture and everything will be uploaded. So one homework for you guys is, please make sure you have both these software installed, Python as well as Anaconda installer. If you are not able to do it, we will quickly troubleshoot, try to troubleshoot the error, whatever is the maximum error you guys might be getting, we will try to troubleshoot it. But please try to resolve it first from your end. Okay, please try to look for the solution, like it's any other software installation error you get, right? If you are getting any error, try to search that in Google. I'm pretty sure you will be getting the appropriate solution. But if not, we will try to resolve it tomorrow. Because if you don't have because mostly now I will be using Jupyter because it is very handy and easy to use. Then we'll be switching to Spider, as we will be moving on to heavy codes, right, which we have to run it at the back end. That time we'll switch to Spider, but typically we will be using Jupyter Notebook. So that's why I encourage you, please do it. So after installing, what can we do? So after installing Anaconda, you just have to launch Jupyter Notebook. You just go here. This is the Jupyter Notebook symbol. So there is a Jupyter Labs also, so please don't get confused. This is not what you want to launch. Jupyter Notebook, it's clearly mentioned. You just first time it will be coming as installation, so you install it and then you launch it from here. So by default it will be opening in your browser, and once it is launched in your browser, you can create a new notebook like this. Just click on this, a new notebook will be opened, and you can save this notebook wherever you want. Okay, fine. Why browser? Because because this is by default, it is launched over there, right? It is connected to the server, and that's how it is designed to launch. Okay, fine. uh, all these things, I think Leela or team can help you out. You guys want to take over, Amar or Leela, or shall we end the session? No, internet is not important. That's why the reason I say, if you install it, Anaconda Navigator, and you are able to launch it from there, then you don't need internet. But you will need internet, let's say, if you want to install a new library. But let's say if once you have installed, then again you don't need it. Okay. No. Okay. If no further question, and from you, Amar, you want to take it over, or shall we close the session? Uh, Okay, all these things, I think for other the issues related to attendance link and all, you can please reach out to ExcelR team. They will help you out surely. Okay. With that, thank you so much everyone for your such a huge participation, and I really looking forward to that. Throughout this journey, I will try my best to engage you guys, to keep things very simple and yet easy to understand for you guys. And I will looking forward to having all the 500, close to 500 participation till the end of the session. Okay, and wherever you see I am going a little bit faster, I can pace it down. But you have to ask question, and you have to do the homework on time. Okay, with that, thank you so much everyone. Have a good day ahead.
Hello everyone. Just be there for 2 minutes. I just want to share some information with you. There will not any be disturbance from our side on tomorrow. You can use the same Zoom link every day for the session to join, or else you may join from the LMS dashboard. And if you have any queries or question, please mail at edl@excelr.com. Happy learning from ExcelR. Thank you. You can leave now.